Last season, Nicky Henderson won 5 races at the rescheduled King George meeting, and his squad for this year looks just as strong, with the team headed by King George and Gold Cup hero Long Run, who suffered a surprise defeat at the hands of Kauto Star on his comeback in the Betfair Chase.
I don't think anything's changed dramatically. I mean, the plan's the same, and we meet again on Boxing Day. I hope it'll be Boxing Day this year. We didn't get to have the race until something like the 16th of January last year. He's run a very good race. Kauto was better than him on the day. He might have been fitter than us on the day. It's a long season. We were probably thinking, it's a long time from now till March. King George is his primary target for the first part of the season, and then you start again. But he got beaten, and I think one would say he might have lost the battle, but he certainly hasn't lost the war.
His jumping came under a little bit of pressure from a fairly early stage at Haydock. Will he have a lot of schooling between now and December?
No, I thought his jumping was actually very good. He made one mistake, and that did rattle him for a moment. But up until then, he'd been fantastic. I mean, the best I've seen him jump, yeah.
And how much sharper will he be come Boxing Day than he was in the Betfair Chase?
Well, I think if you go back to his first run last year in the Paddy Power, you'd hardly say that looked. I mean, that probably wasn't a very good place to start him off last year. In fairness, I think that was a mistake. But you'd have to say he's probably run to a better level than he did in the Paddy. Well, at a much better level this year than he did last year. And then one knows what happened in Kempton. The only thing you'd say is that was Kauto a little bit substandard last year? He was beatable last season. He looked back to his best at Kempton, but we've still got room for that improvement. We've got to find 4 or 5 lengths.
Would you rate Kauto as the one to beat at Kempton?
Well, in the fact that he's beaten us, he's obviously the one to beat. There are going to be plenty of others, but with most of those, we've beaten them before, and I'd be confident of that. That's why I say I think you'll probably find that Kauto's probably come back to his best this year. I think he was probably, all last season, and let's finish where he finished up at Punchestown. Everybody was baying for retirement, and now, if you see the reception he got at Haydock that day, you can realise that Paul was dead right to resist the pressure to retire him. I think it's the sort of obvious place to go. I mean, it's very difficult to keep all these horses apart. But it's a Grade 1. You've got to. It looks where he's got to go. Yeah.
You must have been really impressed with his performance at Newbury.
I was pleased with him. He's a funny horse. He doesn't do anything for you at home except for please you, but he's not flashy about it. There's no great look at me sort of wow factor about him. He's just a really goodness and very honest sort of person. He gets on with his work day in, day out, and that's what he did at Newbury. He jumped really nicely, and over 2.5 miles, Q-Card's good. I know we were getting the penalty off him, but no, he was really good.
And there wasn't a lot between him and Mosley over hurdles last year. Would Mosley run at Kempton?
No, I wouldn't have thought so. Mosley had a run at Kempton. I think it's more likely he'll go to Ascot, actually, just in the Christmas meeting there.
As they go down towards the second last flight of hurdles in the StanJames.com, fighting 5th hurdle, and Overturns trying to see off Binocular with a length and a half to find. Here's the second last. Overturn pinged it and got away quickly. Binocular's shaken up in second. They've got 1 flight of hurdles to take, and Overturn is still...
Well, again, it's exactly so. We've run in the race 3 times on the trot. The same thing's happened every time, but at least it's got him to where he wants to be, and he was very impressive in the Christmas hurdle last year, and the same thing happened in the Fighting 5th last year.
Finish. Jason Maguire racing up towards the line, and Overturn has won the Fighting 5th. Binocular in second, Celestial Halo finished back in third, Stormy Weather next, and then Costa Bra.
Would you run anything else in the Christmas hurdle as well as Binocular?
I don't know. I think Grand Duet's more likely to go to Cheltenham. I don't think Spirit Sun is going to be ready, as I possibly think that Riverside Theatre mightn't be ready for the King George, which he was second in last year, too long run. I mean, it's just a question of whether they'll get there. If they don't, we've got alternative plans mapped out.
If Riverside Theatre didn't make it to the King George, where would he likely start out?
Well, the main, if you said that if you work backwards, the Ryanair is really what we want, and it's what he was favourite for, and I'd hoped he'd win when he fractured his pelvis a week before the race, which was brutal. But if we could go there, he won at the Ascot Chase on the way. I think Ascot and the Ryanair would be the plan.